This is a special announcement here. Let me just put this on silent because this is real now. This is real now. I don't want any disturbances. It's been a long time since half of us been on these net waves, online waves, or whatever you want to call it, for this talkback, talk smack, where real fans do their thing. But this is very important, and I believe this is one of those epic talkbacks that need to be addressed right now. So if you're settled, get your popcorn, cokes, pizzas, everything like that, because we're going in. I've been on Twitter. First, I know just put a little background upon this, so just to give some people some perspective. From one of those, I've always been a fan of X-Men. Has always been, look, Batman and Spider-Man have been my guys, Batman, Spawn, but X-Men has always been that thing where I was like, no, I've been an X-Men guy. I've been an X-Men guy, and obviously the classic for me, which I believe easily without doubt is the best cartoon series of all time, the 90s cartoon series, which was like, that's what I watched all the time. And Wolverine was the guy, and Wolverine was just the character that everybody wanted to. Yes, we loved Storm, Cyclops, all these guys, but everybody knew that Wolverine was a standout character, And the key thing is this: what made Wolverine stand out? What made him so cool? People will say, well, oh, because he's angry and menacing. So is Batman as well. People say, oh, that whole thing with his claws. Sorry, that's power is not as creative or as crazy as Spider-Man's webbing power and web slinging. Oh, it's because of his adamantium, because he can regenerate. Yeah, there are many characters out there that can regenerate as well, and it's not that great an attribute. He's short. And that's what gets people noticing, because remember, the key thing is this, and this is why I want to get a perspective. Comic books start with the man drawing, with someone drawing. It doesn't start with like a synopsis or let's think of a story. A comic book concept starts with somebody drawing. And when they draw, then they say, okay, boom, boom, boom. Almost every single concept has always started with someone drawing. Or it may be in tandem with someone drawing and thinking about a concept that they saw in a dream, but it starts with the image. When you go to a comic book store and you're looking for new comics, the thing that grabs you is the artwork. When I was going through the comic books, I was like, man, Spawn, that looks pretty crazy. And I went in, I was like, okay, what the hell is that? And when I was going through and saw the artwork for 100 plus, I was like, okay, that looks pretty good. It starts with the image, the image. And the image of a short, stocky, muscly guy with huge sideburns, crazy hair, thick eyebrows, that image with the claws coming out, it's a very distinctive and powerful image, and you need everything in there. If the guy is 6 foot, 7 foot tall, lean and graceful with the claws coming out, it's just not as powerful an image. The image, it grabs you of a short, stocky guy like this, leaning over with the claws like this. It grabs you. It's different because you've not seen an image with all those things put together in that package. Hence why when X-Men 1 came out, I was in the minority of like, that's not Wolverine. Good actor, did well. I remember when I came out of that cinema and I was like, first of all, I was like, as an X-Men film, no. That's not Cyclops. How do you make Storm 5 foot? 5'3"? How is Storm short? And why? And Cyclops, if you call that a leader, and Rogue, basically, the film was just casting off, the film was just off. I was like, no, this is a failure. But the key thing was that it was all about who's playing Wolverine, how is Wolverine portrayed. And when I came out, I was like, that's not Wolverine. Hence why I've only watched the X-Men film once, and that was in the cinema. And when I fully signed out of X-Men, as even caring was, I remember I watched the beginning of X-Men 2, and I remember the moment I signed out was when you see Wolverine for the first time in X-Men 2. I remember that moment. I was watching it in my friend's room when I saw Wolverine for the first time with his crazy hairstyle, hair that looked like if it was like a prima donna, like some kind of hairstylist from Gucci or Versace. When I saw that, I signed out. I was like, nah. So it comes now to the little disputes and dialogue I've been having with James Mangold on Twitter, because obviously, I learned this through my homeboy, Triple A, who had obviously been having some dialogue with him, and obviously, and he'd been talking to Mangold. I was like, okay, I didn't really expect Mangold to reply to me, so I was like, okay, no, let me just get some dialogue in with him, and we have actually, and he's actually been replying to a lot of the tweets I've been having, and we've really been trying come to, let's say, a disagreement on the essence of what makes Wolverine Wolverine. When Aronofsky had the reigns of Wolverine, I mean, we're like, whoa, Black Swan, pie, all stuff like, damn, we're like, Aronofsky's going to bring it home. Like, bada bing, bada blah. Aronofsky said, Hugh Jackman, you're not Wolverine. You're not the dude from the comics. Bulk up so I can make something happen and visually make you look closer to the character in the comics. Because, and I said this to Mangold, Hugh Jackman's face is Wolverine. His face looks like Wolverine. His body doesn't. So if you were to use effects or special trickery to make Hugh Jackman short, that's Wolverine. That's Wolverine. But I'll even add something to that, because that's what the same thing that they use with the Lord of the Rings, and the way short people move is not the way tall people move. Hence why whenever I was looking at Frodo, I was like, yeah, this just doesn't really feel like if it's how a short person really operates, so there you go. But basically, I mean, the main thing that Mangold has really been saying is that he doesn't believe that height is an issue, and he fully believes that a Clint Eastwood aura and presence is not such a bad thing for Wolverine. And that's the real problem, the real oops right there, And from reading the comments of people out there, I'm going to say something a bit controversial here, but it's Talkback, is what it's supposed to be about. Screw the fans. That means me as well. Screw me. Screw the fans. Screw everyone. If a filmmaker is coming up to make a project, screw the fans. Don't do it for me. Make a good film. And understand what makes the source material good. And give me your artist interpretation of what makes the source material good. Don't do it for me. Don't pander to me. No, please don't do it. Give me a good quality product that understands the essence of the source material. Tim Burton was that the essence of Batman is he is alone, he's dark, he's mysterious, he's a creature of the night, his cape, the vision, the psychology of the bat. That's the essence. That's the essence. The psychology, the complexity. That's the essence, and Burton gave you that. Donna gave you a being from a different planet coming onto Earth, and in a world where he's the most powerful thing on this world, and understanding his duties and trying to understand his duties, and investigating the whole thing of an alien coming into Earth and the kind of burden of him being a superhero, essence. And from reading the comments of people, a lot of people seem to say Hugh Jackman is perfect in the role. Hugh Jackman, love me. I don't want to change for anything. Screw those fans. Screw them. I don't care what those guys say, because I know what the Wolverine guy is in the comics and in the cartoons. I know what he says. I know. Okay, I know the times when he keeps on referring to his size. Okay, because the danger here is that people seem to think that, oh no, people won't take a short person seriously. First of all, that's just being extremely prejudiced to people who are short, assuming that, oh no, a short person. I can talk from experience. I've known and I know a short person, a guy who is much shorter than me, who is extremely strong. Extremely strong, and there are many times where I've seen a shorter person beat up a guy twice his size. Okay, strength isn't about how tall you are. Strength is just strength. David and Goliath. But not even despite that, strength is just strength. There are short people who are extremely strong. There's short people who are extremely strong. So, that's me. What's it called? Ken Shamrock. He's in the tallest guy in the world. Please go and fight Ken Shamrock in the street. Please try it. So, the thing is, and even that other UFC guy who's, I think, married to Janet Jameson. I can't remember his name, but look, there are short guys out there who are strong. But the point I'm trying to make is that the beauty of Wolverine, why Wolverine was so interesting, and I'm telling you as it is, I don't care, I'm telling you as it is, was because he didn't, because guys were making points about this on the forums, I was just doing some research. He doesn't look like other superheroes, which is because he went against the grain, he went against the archetype. Just as how before Batman it was, big, strong, Captain America, Superman, those big, and then came Batman who went against that. He was dark, he was brooding. But then before Wolverine was, big, tall, strong, square jaw, very, the handsome look, 6 foot tall, 7 foot tall, very tall, blah, blah. And Wolverine came and, this guy's short. This guy's short, so he doesn't fit into the superhero archetype. He's a bit different, he's coming at it from a whole different angle. And that is what made Wolverine so interesting. And that is just what was appealing to him, because guys were like, oh my gosh. If you're looking at the X-Men, you have Cyclops, Beast, Storm, Rogue. He stands out because he just looks completely different from everyone else. He just looks more interesting because it's a combination of his short, and he has those claws coming out, and he has these massive sideburns. All that put together makes it interesting. So everything is crucial. The claws, the hair, the angry face, and the height. Everything is crucial to making him unique, and set apart from the status quo. And that's just what Mangold doesn't understand. It's what Aronofsky understood, because he said it with his own mouth. Hugh Jackman, you don't look like that dude in the comics. The way you were looking in those films, you looked like Clint Eastwood, which isn't Wolverine. But for Mangold, he seems, and this is what I'm trying to explain to him, and he doesn't seem to accept it, that Jimmy, because I think he thinks that it's an offense that, he's thinking that maybe he doesn't read the comics or anything. I say, you saying that means that you haven't read the comics. You haven't watched the 90s TV show. Because if you did, You know that, no, Hugh Jackman, you're too tall to be Wolverine. I mean, just type in Wolverine short in Google and people, you see quotes saying that, oh, Wolverine, why is he so short? Hugh Jackman, he's too tall to be Wolverine. Shouldn't Wolverine be a lot shorter than Hugh Jackman is? Okay, it's known that he's short. And the rebuttal that obviously Mangold would say, and other people say that, oh no, Hugh Jackman has done such a great job that, height shouldn't be an issue. Two responses to that is that, first of all, I don't think Hugh Jackman has done enough to make me look past the height issue, because he's too nice. He's just too nice. He's always too nice, and he doesn't have that demean, the edge. Jack Nicholson and Wolf. So I'm gonna say, Jack Nicholson, Wolf, or a young Jack Nicholson. Enough said. If a young Jack Nicholson walked in with the clothes, with the hair of Wolverine, he doesn't need to say a thing. You're like, step off, Wolverine, let's move next. The second response to that is the height thing. There's just some things that you can't look past. As in, the difference between a tall person and a short person, it's too massive. And this was the example that I used to illustrate my point to Mangold. Hopefully, for those of you who have seen Midnight Cowboy, you'd understand this point. The beauty of Midnight Cowboy, which is an extremely amazing film, one of my top films, the beauty of Midnight Cowboy is the chemistry between Jon Voight and Dustin Hoffman. And the beauty of that chemistry is Jon Voight, the tall, 6 foot cowboy, blonde hair, the classic kind of cowboy guy, and the shorter, sneaky, cunning look of Dustin Hoffman. These are two completely different characters, completely. And in the way they carry themselves and the way they act is completely different, and it is based on their stature. So their characters are based on their stature. Ratsurizzo is very small, cunning, stealing things, very like that, and Jon Voight strutting around, coming into New York, very confident, So their characters are based on their stature, and they're so different that it makes their chemistry so interesting. Because based on their difference, they still manage to find that middle ground, and that is where the beauty of the chemistry in their friendship lies. And I made the point to Mangold is Daniel Day-Lewis, bloody amazing actor. Now put him in the same role as Dustin Hoffman. It'll still be a good film, but it wouldn't work. That chemistry, that je ne sais quoi, that magic would not be the same if Day-Lewis was in it, and it wouldn't be as good. It just wouldn't be as good, because the beauty about it is just how different they look, Dustin Hoffman and Jon Voight. Obviously it's the acting as well, but Dustin Hoffman and Jon Voight. So hence why I say that tall people have equality, short people have equality. Peter Dinklage in Game of Thrones, very good actor, but a lot of what draws us toward him, and a lot of the reason why his character is so interesting and so endearing, is because of his stature. Obviously, you put Van Troyer in that role. Obviously, yeah, we would be drawn to because of his shot, but it just wouldn't be as good because Van Troyer he's not a good actor. But Peter Dinklage is a very good actor. But it is his acting skill and his stature that makes it interesting. Very interesting, and makes his character very unique. It's a combination of what he's done with the role and his stature. And the key thing is, Hugh Jackman can act from here to the cows come home. He just will not be able to sell you the kind of emotions you would get from watching a short man, muscly, built, stocky with claws. That's a powerful image. That's a powerful image. And I'll say it again. Picture a young Jack Nicholson, beefed up, muscly, in great shape, bulky, with those claws, those sideburns. You want to compare that to Hugh Jackman? But that's the thing. You show that image. I wish I could just use to create that image of a young Jack Nicholson with muscles stocked up, with those claws, with those sideburns. That's Wolverine. That is Wolverine. And you were like, boom. Do it. Because that's the key thing about Wolverine is this. Especially in film form. From the very first moment you see him, you need to be sold. Without him saying a word, you need to be sold. Hugh Jackman, he didn't do that. Because Hugh Jackman doesn't have a presence about him. He doesn't have a strong way like, whoa. Because Jack Nicholson is a dude where he'll walk into the room, you take notice. If you saw that young Jack Nicholson I described sitting down, hunched over with his beer bottle in a bar, you're like, whoa, you're like, who the hell is that? You know? And that's all I'm saying. Some guys have it, some don't. You know? So, but what I'm saying is, Wolverine has to be short. That is a key part of his stature. And people saying, oh no, Hugh Jackman is doing such a great role, blah, blah. Fine, good for you. You don't get Wolverine. You don't get what makes Wolverine so interesting. So don't try and come off saying, oh no, I'm a fan, so no, you don't understand him. That's not me being insulting you. You don't understand him. If you understood him, you would realize that Hugh Jackman is too tall. And if you really understood him, Hugh Jackman, he's a good actor, but he doesn't capture the essence, the mean, the grit, the edge of Wolverine. Doesn't give you that fear, that edginess that Wolverine should give you, where even if he's cracking jokes with me, I'm still on edge. You know, that you just feel a presence around, and you should feel an unease when he's around. I mean, Hugh Jackman, he's a fair, he's a nice guy. You know, you can have tea with him. He's a good guy. Okay, Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Just take the essence of Jack Nicholson's performance in The Shining, and you add claws, sideburns, and obviously the build to that. You don't mess with that guy. You don't mess with that guy. That's all I'm saying. So it's a really long talk back here, and obviously I'm not sure whether I'll still be talking to James Mangold, but it's actually been a very interesting convo I've had with him, and the film's already done. As he said, the film's already done. He can't change it. Fine, okay. I'll probably make another video about this. I want Hugh Jackman. Thank you for your service to it. What's it? 7 films. Thank you very much. I appreciate what you've done. I think it's time for you to step away from it. Step away from it. It's too much. You've done enough. After this film, step away. Okay, you're an Oscar-nominated guy. Go on to the films. It's enough. I want to see Wolverine on the movie screen. A proper Wolverine. Maybe you go for an unknown. Maybe you look at Jackie L. Haley. Do some prosthetics on him to make him look more like Wolverine. You know. Hugh Jackman, I've had it. Okay, I've had it. You're not Wolverine. Okay, you're not. Okay, you've had your chance. You are not the character. That's it. After this movie, please leave. Let someone else be given the chance for Wolverine. Please. A shorter guy. Okay, a shorter man. A guy who has Wolverine's height. Who has the aura as well as the acting ability. So don't get it twisted, because people would now say, okay, so therefore just get a shorter guy. Even if you can't, just get a shorter guy and that'll be it. No. Hence why I use the example of Jack Nicholson. And Hugh Jackman ain't no Jack Nicholson when it comes to acting. I can tell you that. Okay. So, but we want it's not an alternative. I want Wolverine. I want Wolverine. You know, it's like Mickey Rourke. You know, Sin City. That's the character. You know, man, that's right there is the character. You don't need to say anything. You know, that is the character. That is the guy from Sin City. He's the character. Obviously, it's always hard to find that guy, but I believe that there are Wolverine guys out there. Wolverine, I believe, is Jack Nicholson, but he's too old. Wolverine is Jack Nicholson. That's who he is. Obviously, as I said, those adjustments, everything, but you make those adjustments, and he's younger. Early 40s, late 30s, Jack Nicholson. That's Wolverine. That's Wolverine. So, that's it really, and I mean, in closing really, I just feel that the beauty about art shouldn't be restricted to the nice looking people, the 6 foot tall, nice looking people who women will swarm to. The beauty about art is it's about people of different shapes and sizes, and I just find it extremely disheartening, insulting, and just very sad that there are people out there who claim to be fans, they're not, who claim to be fans of Wolverine, who say, oh no, a short Wolverine won't work. No, I wouldn't actually like a short Wolverine. Hugh Jackman, the way he is fine. I find that's a bit sad, and I just feel that, Wolverine, he's not supposed to be a pretty guy, he's not supposed to be a nice guy. He's supposed to be a guy who you fear, he's dangerous. But he's good. He does good, he does good things, but he's a guy that you're afraid of. And a guy that makes you feel uneasy. Because again, Jack Nicholson, he ain't no Hugh Jackman, he ain't no pretty boy guy. Jack Nicholson, the guy that has an edge. And the dudes are out there, Jackie L. Haley, the guy has an edge. Okay? So, I want the real Wolverine to be on the movie screen. Hugh Jackman, please step away. Thank you for your services. I appreciate your commitment. Your commitment has been amazing. But please kindly step away to allow someone else who is closer to the Wolverine in the comics and the 90s cartoon series to take on the reins. Thank you very much. Double H.